They are the titans of Wall Street, managing trillions of dollars in assets. Their decisions can make or break markets, influence corporate strategies, and even affect government policies. But their power extends far beyond the realm of finance. Their reach infiltrates various sectors, from technology to healthcare and even the media. These firms have quietly become the largest shareholders in almost every major corporation in America. Their influence is subtle yet pervasive. Think about that for a second. The decisions made in their boardrooms ripple out to affect millions of lives. We're talking about companies that produce the food we eat, the news we consume, and the information we trust, the medications we rely on. Their influence touches every aspect of our daily lives. The scope of their reach is staggering. It's a web of influence that spans the globe, affecting industries and economies worldwide. And it's this unchecked influence, this concentration of power in the hands of a select few that has many people deeply concerned. The potential for conflicts of interest is enormous. Because when a handful of entities control so much, it's not just about profits anymore, it's about power. Power that can shape policies, sway public opinion, and even influence elections. And the potential for abuse is enormous. The stakes are incredibly high, and the consequences of their actions can be far-reaching. So how did we get here? How did these financial giants rise to such prominence and embed themselves so deeply in the fabric of American life? How did these financial giants become so deeply embedded in the fabric of American life? The journey is complex, filled with strategic moves and calculated risks. That's what we're going to explore. We'll delve into their histories, their strategies, and the implications of their immense power. Buckle up, folks, because things are about to get interesting. This is a story of power, influence, and the unseen forces that shape our world. Let's talk about market share, that pie chart of American capitalism. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, they want the whole damn pie, and they're well on their way to getting it. These firms own majority shares in industries that touch every aspect of our lives. Media, they control it. They're the largest shareholders in Disney, Comcast, Time Warner. So next time you turn on the news or watch a movie, remember who's really calling the shots. Food? Yep, they've got their fingers in that pie too. They're major shareholders in companies like Nestle, PepsiCo, and Coca-Cola. Control the food supply, control the people. It's a tale as old as time. And don't even get me started on pharmaceuticals. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street are major investors in all the big names. Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, you name it. They profit from our illnesses, our need for medication. This isn't just about free market capitalism anymore. This is about power. The kind of power that can shape markets, influence governments, and control the flow of information. Think about the institutions in our society that are supposed to be accountable to the public: prisons, the military, the police. These are the pillars that are meant to uphold justice, security, and order in our communities. Now think about BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. These financial behemoths are not just passive investors, they are active players in shaping the landscape of our society. You might be surprised to learn that their tentacles reach into these sectors as well. Their influence extends far beyond Wall Street, infiltrating the very institutions we rely on for public safety and justice. These firms are invested in private prisons, companies that profit from incarceration. The more people they lock up, the more money they make. They make money off the backs of prisoners, many of whom are from marginalized communities. This creates a perverse incentive to keep incarceration rates high, disproportionately affecting those already disadvantaged. It's a system designed for profit, not rehabilitation. The focus is on keeping the cells full, not on helping individuals reintegrate into society. And then there's the military-industrial complex. This is another area where these financial giants have significant stakes. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street are major shareholders in defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Raytheon. These companies thrive on conflict and war. They profit from war, from conflict. Every missile launched, every tank deployed translates into higher returns for these investors. Is it any wonder that our country seems perpetually at war? The cycle of conflict is fueled by those who stand to gain the most from it. When corporations have a financial incentive to keep the bombs dropping, peace becomes a lot harder to achieve. The human cost is immense, but the profits are even greater. We're talking about a fundamental conflict of interest. The pursuit of profit is at odds with the pursuit of peace and justice. How can we expect our government to make ethical decisions about incarceration or military intervention when these financial giants are whispering in their ear, urging them to prioritize profits over people? The influence of money in politics cannot be underestimated. Section 4, the American dream out of reach, owning a home. It's the quintessential American dream, the cornerstone of a stable life. But for millions of Americans, that dream is slipping further and further out of reach. And guess who's partly to blame? You guessed it, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. These firms have been buying up homes and apartments at an alarming rate, turning them into rental properties. They're driving up prices, making it nearly impossible for ordinary people to compete. The American dream of home ownership is being replaced by a new reality, renting from corporate landlords. And these landlords, unlike mom-and-pop operations, are beholden only to their shareholders. They're incentivized to raise rents, to squeeze every last penny out of their tenants. This isn't just about housing, it's about power. It's about these firms consolidating their control over another essential aspect of our lives. They're turning us from homeowners into renters, from citizens into consumers. Section 5, DEI, corporate virtue. Signaling, or something more insidious, diversity, equity, and inclusion. These three words have become ubiquitous in corporate America. They are seen in mission statements, annual reports, and even in the day-to-day operations of many companies. And on the surface, who can argue with the goal of creating a more equitable and inclusive society? It sounds like a noble pursuit, one that promises fairness and opportunity for all. But when BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street champion DEI initiatives, we need to look deeper. We need to ask ourselves, are these genuine efforts or simply a cynical form of corporate virtue signaling? Are these companies truly committed to these values, or are they using them as a shield? These firms, with their vast shareholder voting power, have a significant influence over the companies they invest in. They have been pushing DEI initiatives in every company they invest in, making it a central part of their investment strategy. Now, some might say that's a good thing. After all, promoting diversity and inclusion can lead to a more harmonious and productive workplace. But what if these initiatives are being used to silence dissent, to punish those who dare to question the status quo? What if they are a tool for control rather than empowerment, to punish those who dare to question the status quo? This raises serious concerns about the true intentions behind these initiatives. What if DEI in the hands of these powerful entities becomes a tool for enforcing ideological conformity? What if it is used to marginalize those who don't subscribe to their worldview? It becomes a tool for enforcing ideological conformity, for marginalizing those who don't subscribe to their worldview. This could lead to a homogenized corporate culture where only certain viewpoints are allowed. For marginalizing those who don't subscribe to their worldview, it's a chilling thought, but one we need to consider seriously. It's a chilling thought, but one we need to consider, because true diversity isn't just about race, gender, or sexual orientation. True diversity isn't just about race, gender, or sexual orientation. It's about diversity of thought, of opinion, of perspective. It's about creating an environment where different ideas can flourish. It's about diversity of thought, of opinion, of perspective. And when powerful entities start dictating what we can and cannot say, true diversity is the first casualty. And when powerful entities start dictating what we can and cannot say, true diversity is the first casualty. We must be vigilant and ensure that the pursuit of DEI does not come at the cost of freedom of thought and expression. True diversity is the first casualty. We must be vigilant and ensure that the pursuit of DEI does not come at the cost of freedom of thought and expression. Section 6, the Information Blackout. You might be wondering why you haven't heard more about the outsized influence of BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Well, remember what we talked about earlier? They control the media. They're the largest shareholders in the companies that produce the news we consume. So, how likely is it that those companies are going to air hard-hitting investigative pieces about the very entities that control them? Not very likely. It's like expecting a puppet to criticize its puppeteer. These firms have created a system where it's incredibly difficult to hold them accountable. They operate in the shadows, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. and they use their control over the media to keep the public in the dark. This lack of transparency is deeply concerning. When powerful entities are allowed to operate with impunity, when they're not subject to public scrutiny, it creates a breeding ground for corruption and abuse of power.